This is gonna get me in trouble.
Hello world, hello John. As I've aged, I've done that thing that I never really thought I'd be all that interested in. I've started paying attention to the wider world. Things like global climate change, politics, foreign relations, and life in other countries. The works. I've come to learn a lot of things, and I'd like to talk a little bit about something that I hadn't really thought about until the last handful of years. Freedom of speech. A right given to us with the First Amendment to our Constitution. Specifically, it reads, Congress shall make no law respecting an establishment of religion, or prohibiting the free exercise thereof, or abridging the freedom of speech, or of the press, or the right of the people peaceably to assemble and to petition the government for a redress of grievances. So we're allowed to say whatever we want, whenever we want, and we do so knowing that we can't be silenced, right? Sort of. There's another side to the coin. One of which I think that a lot of Americans are getting wrong. Does freedom of speech also mean freedom from consequences? Let's talk about an example, one of which we've seen a ton of times in many forms. Mind you, I am going to slightly algebra this to avoid any hot topic issues because that's not why we're here. An employee goes public and says X, but X goes against the beliefs of the company that the employee works for. Does the company have the right to terminate said employee's job over what was said? Weren't they just expressing their First Amendment right? Freedom of speech, but they suffered consequences of what they said. Most companies have a code of conduct for their employees. Even the most lenient of companies will still hold some right when it comes to their public image. If an employee's actions or words shed a negative light on the company, don't they have the right to remove that element? I think they do. Obviously, there are certain discriminations that a person is shielded from. Title VII of the Civil Rights Act of 1964 prohibits employers from discriminating against applicants and employees on the basis of race, color, religion, sex, and national origin. And this is often cited directly or indirectly as the reason a person can say whatever they want, whenever they want, and be protected. But these things are states of being, not speech spoken. So citing this would be incorrect. The way the First Amendment is written and given, the protection of freedom of speech is the protection from government interference. Meaning the government can't come in and infringe on our right to say whatever we want, whether it's about the government themselves or in peaceful protest of government action. However, that right doesn't shield a person from the social consequences of those words. If someone I was friends with came out loud and proud that insert discriminatory belief was something they believed in, I reserve the right to end that relationship, whether that be friendship, an intimate relationship, or crew at Pants Pending Studios. But in the end, I do believe people should be able to say whatever they want, but I don't believe for one second that a person has the right of protection against the consequences of those words. The government can't silence you, but the people of this country and the people around the world can and will change their behavior towards you. In the United States, we have inalienable rights granted to us, freedom of speech being one of them, freedom of thought another. Our political climate right now clearly demonstrates how we as a people have the freedom to think and believe whatever we want. The line we draw, the line we must draw, is that those beliefs can and should not infringe the rights of anyone else. You withhold the right to say and believe whatever you want, and no matter how much I disagree with them, I have no right to forcibly change your mind on that. However, I'm just as allowed to end any relationship we have or prevent any future relationship we may have based on the words that were said. The internet has made this aspect of life a lot more prevalent. Even just 30 years ago, gathering an audience was something only a very few people could and would do. Now you don't even have to leave your bed before you can access the eyes and ears of the public. Heck, I wrote a good portion of this vlog while I was still convincing myself to get out of bed. But 30 years ago, or now, our words can and do have consequences. Every time I release a vlog, every time I appear in a podcast, I am presenting myself publicly. And each and every one of you has the right to form an opinion of me based on what I say in them. If any of you are a potential employer or a potential partner with Pants Pending, what I say here can potentially make or break that relationship, and there is no constitutional right that protects me from the consequences. Many times the First Amendment will be cited as justification for discrimination. This is incorrect. The First Amendment gives us the right to believe and say what we want to believe and say. The First Amendment does not give any citizen the right to restrict the rights of others based on their own beliefs. If you're looking to discriminate against a person or people, the First Amendment is not the place you're looking for. Because that amendment doesn't just protect you, it also protects the person or people that you're discriminating against as well. There is no person, no belief, no religion, no organization that has the right to infringe on your rights. You're allowed to be who you are, and every person around you is allowed to be who they are. And none of you are allowed to force any other person to be who you are, no matter what your beliefs demand. Alright, John, that's all I got. Go, sleep. We'll talk soon.